Hey, welcome to the podcast. Sit back, relax. Try not to throw nothing at me because you won't hurt my feelings. You'll just hurt your computer. This podcast is brought to you by your host, me, Robert McCune. Okay, let's jump right into this. ABC News reporting Maryland couple pleads guilty to selling nuclear related secrets. Jonathan and Diana Toby pleaded guilty for a second time on Tuesday to federal charges that they tried to sell secrets about U.S. submarine nuclear propulsion systems to a foreign country. I say just take them out back and just shoot them. No trial needed. That's treason. The couple originally pleaded guilty in February, but the judge threw out the plea agreement last month after deciding the sentence called for were too low. The Tobys of Annapolis, Maryland seemed to neighbors and coworkers to be the typical suburban couple before they were arrested last October for allegedly scheming to sell secrets about Virginia-class nuclear submarines to a foreign country, which was not identified in the court papers. Now, at the time of his plea, Jonathan Toby conceded he sent a package to a foreign government listing a return address in Pittsburgh that contained a sample of restricted data and instructions for establishing a relationship to buy additional restricted data. Sounds like this guy used to work for a cell phone company. Jonathan Toby said he began corresponding with someone he thought was a representative of a foreign government who was really an undercover FBI agent. Whoops. According to prosecutors, a few weeks later, Jonathan and Deanna Toby traveled to a location in West Virginia. There, with Deanna Toby acting as a lookout, Jonathan Toby placed an SD card concealed within a half of peanut butter sandwich and a prearranged dead drop location. After retrieving the SD card, the undercover agent sent Jonathan Toby a $20,000 cryptocurrency payment. In return, Jonathan emailed the undercover agent a decryption key for the SD card. A review of the SD card revealed that it contained restricted data related to submarine nuclear reactors. Diana Toby, 46, pleaded guilty to a single count of conspiracy to communicate restricted data, conceding she knowingly and voluntarily joined conspiracies with her husband, a former nuclear engineer for the U.S. Navy, to sell secrets to a foreign country. And in another unrelated naval story, a U.S. Coast Guard vessel on a routine patrol in the Bering Sea off Alaska has reported an encounter with a Chinese guided missile cruiser, which was later discovered to be traveling with two other Chinese vessels. And get this, and four Russian Navy ships. The ship sailed only 86 miles north of Alaska's Kiska Island on September 19th. Two other Chinese naval ships and four Russian naval vessels, including a destroyer, were spotted in single formation. Coast Guard patrol boat known as cutter called Kimball discovered the seven warships. It had to be a hell of a sight. I don't know how well armed a Coast Guard vessel was, but I'm sure it was no match for seven foreign warships. Rear Admiral Nathan Moore, the 17th Coast Guard District Commander, said, "While the formation did operate in accordance with international rules and norms, we will meet presence with presence to ensure that there are no disruptions to the U.S. interest in the maritime environment around Alaska." Now, the Chinese and Russian formation came just 1 month after NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg warned about China's interest in the Arctic and Russia's military buildup there. Now, Stoltenberg went on to say Russia has set up a new Arctic command and has opened hundreds of new and former Soviet-era Arctic military sites, including deep water ports and airfields. Now, if memory serves me right, and it usually does in these matters, I can recall not so long ago Russia's making a comment on how they think they're going to take Alaska back. Could this be a prequel? Okay, let's talk about Texas for a minute. The Texas Tribune reported Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton fled his home to avoid being served with a subpoena. Now, this guy ain't even being sued. In an affidavit, a process server said that the state's top attorney tried to evade him as he attempted to deliver a subpoena from an abortion funds lawsuit against the state. The Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton fled his home in a truck driven by his wife, State Senator Angela Paxton. Geez, I wonder if it was a white Bronco. Was he hiding in the back seat? All right. Well, he did this to avoid being served a subpoena on Monday, according to the affidavit filed in the court. Geez, you think this guy wouldn't be so juvenile? He does this for a living. This should be second nature to him. He should have just took it, grunted, and showed up in court. All right, moving right along here. ABC News reports Washington. The Federal Reserve escalated its fight against inflation this week, instituting a major rate increase. Wow, no surprise there. It's been going up like a Jerry Lewis telethon lately. And saying more will likely follow. The central bank said the moves will cause a jump in the number of unemployed Americans by the end of next year. They're already planning for a loss in um, unemployment. And if it's next year, the Republicans should all be in charge by then so they can blame the Republicans. The Fed put forth a series of aggressive interest hikes in recent months as it tries to slash price increase by slowing the economy and choking off demand. But the approach bears risk tipping the United States into a recession and causing widespread joblessness. Sounds like a good plan to me. Fed Chair Jerome Powell on Wednesday acknowledged that the rate hikes would cause pain for the U.S. economy as growth slows and unemployment rises. Boy, do they have a good plan to fixing our economy or what? It's like we're trillions of dollars in debt. So what's the solution? Oh, wait, we could spend more money. We can just print it and spend it. That'll get us out of the hole. This is the way our government thinks. Man, he added, however, that a failure to restore price stability would mean a far greater pain later on. So he's trying to justify this fiasco. A job loss forecasted by the Fed this week would be by the end of 2023. It would raise the unemployment rate from its current level of 3.7% to 4.4%. That outcome would add an estimated 1.2 million unemployed people, according to Omar Sharif, the founder of research firm Inflation Insights. That's 1.2 million people they're saying is estimated that's going to be out of work at the end of 2023. Well, the good news out of that, I suppose, the way the government's running things, we might not be around by the end of 2023. Okay, let's move overseas. Europe news. Spain says Nord Stream gas leaks likely a deliberate act and points the finger at Russia. Really? Russia? You think they would do that? Well, however, the Russian foreign minister was not immediately available to comment when contacted by the CNBC Thursday morning. And looks like Mr. Biden's gaffing again. White House plays damage control yet again after Biden searching for deceased Rep. Orlowski adds to a list of walkbacks. On Wednesday, during the White House conference on hunger, nutrition, and health, Biden appeared to search for Orlowski, who died in a car accident last month. Biden stated, I want to thank all of you here, including bipartisan elected officials like Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Jackie, are you here? Biden said, searching for the late Congresswoman, I think she was going to be here to help me make this a reality. Well, unfortunately, the reality is Biden is losing his cognitive mind. And the White House is forever walking back his dementia like statements and at times uncoherent, non topic statements. Well, the White House fields multiple questions on why President Biden appeared to look for a deceased Congresswoman. So, of course, Jean Pierre, White House spokesperson, tried to do damage control once again, saying the president already planned to welcome the Congresswoman's family to the White House on Friday because there will be a bill signing in her honor. And of course, she was on his mind. Well, I got a little secret for you. I think the only thing that's on Biden's mind lately is if he's going to get chocolate chip or peanut butter cookies with his warm milk before Betty Bye. And of course, earlier this month, the White House was also forced to walk back comments made by Biden to the CBS News at Detroit Auto Show about the pandemic. And I'll tell you, Biden, he's the gift that just keeps on giving for my podcast. Though, in all seriousness, I personally think this is a shame, and it borders on elder abuse. He really didn't have much to contribute to his campaign. He hid in his basement for most of it. And he would have never been elected if it wasn't for the media and the folks with their own agenda. He was pushed into this position by others with their own interest in mind because anyone that has this type of mental health issue can be easily manipulated. Biden told the CBS News the pandemic is over. The president said during an interview with 60 Minutes anchor Scott Peely at the Detroit Auto Show, we still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be pretty good shape. All right, let's keep moving along. Senate committee moves forward with legislation to prevent repeat of January 6th insurrection. Boy, I'll tell you, whenever somebody puts into question the ability of these people to stay in power, oh my God, do they get pissy. The Senate Rules Committee voted 14-1 to approve the bill and send it to the Senate floor. Man, I'd like to know who that one was. I think I'm going to try to find that out. So, the Senate Rules Committee voted 14-1 Tuesday to approve a bill overhauling the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and send it to the Senate floor. The Electoral Count Act governs how states and Congress certifies electors and declares presidential winners. Uh-oh, I smell fish. Somehow I think this is a plot to stop Donald Trump. I know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but he lives rent-free in their minds. He has since he ran the first time. So, the Electoral Count Reform and Presidential Transition Improvement Act, man, that's a mouthful, would modify the 135-year-old legislation to include language that clearly states, among other things, the role of the vice president in overseeing the electoral vote count is strictly ceremonial. That specification will eliminate any confusion about whether the vice president can overturn an election by rejecting an electoral votes. Uh-oh, I smell fish again. And here it is. Mike Pence was pressured by Trump loyalists in the days leading up to January 6th insurrection to do just that. Reject electoral college votes in an effort to overturn the election. There it is. I told you he lives rent-free in their brains. Apparently, Republicans are jumping ship away from Donald Trump, it looks like, because 22 Senate Republicans, including Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, are on record supporting this bill. Okay, now on to some funny but yet embarrassing news. This country's screwed when McDonald's announces a new Happy Meal for adults. I shit you not, for some time now, adults have been acting as children. Looks like McDonald's noticed. So this month, McDonald's is bringing back the classic characters like the hamburger, Bertie, and Grimace for the rival of the nostalgic McDonald's Happy Meal experience specifically made for adults. You gotta be kidding me, right? All right, what's in the box? Come on, what's in the box? What's in the box? Well, you might ask. Starting October 3rd, McDonald's is partnering with Cactus Plant Flea Market, a streetwear brand, to bring back the nostalgia of the classic Happy Meal box that many adults may remember from their childhood. Each Happy Meal will come with a choice of either a Big Mac, a 10-piece McNugget, along with an order of medium fries and a drink. Each meal will come with a redesigned McDonald's figurine featuring the Hamburglar, Birdie, Grimace, and Cactus Buddy. Oh, wow, Cactus Buddy! Yay! A new character designed by CPFM, whoever the hell they are. Although there's no set end date for the adult Happy Meal, McDonald's states that it is a limited time offer only. Well, maybe they can start putting blankets, coloring books, provide some hot cocoa for that medium drink, and redesign the play area as a safe place for all these fragile adults. Man, this country is messed up. I have no idea where we're going, and I don't think I want to know. Well, that's it. I'm going to end this podcast here. Personally, I've had more fun than any one human being should be allowed to have. Stay frosty, be cool. This is the part where you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe if you haven't. Give me the thumbs up. And don't be afraid to ring my bell so you can get some notifications when my podcast comes out. All right. Till we talk again.